Friday night, the comeback, as the Reds rally to score 3 runs in the 7th to take the first game of the opening series. Saturday, the walk-off, Ryan Ludwig victimizing his old team with a game-winning home run, winning the first 2. And then last night, the sweep. Scotty Rowland, a 2-out, 2-run single. Aroldis Chapman firing bullets, fanning the side in the 9th. The Reds sweep their division rivals. Tonight, the Diamondbacks come to town. Reds looking to win their 7th in a row. A warm summer night in downtown Cincinnati and a crowd rolling into Great American Ballpark as the Reds continue this homestand, a 10-game homestand post-All-Star break with a first of 4 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us here on Fox Sports Ohio. The Reds come rolling into the series. The Diamondbacks come limping into the series. The Reds swept the St. Louis Cardinals, and of course, the Diamondbacks had a tough time against the Cubbies.
Well, you're right about that, and this is where they are in the last 3 games. They seem to be going in opposite directions. Obviously, the Reds have a 6-game winning streak going. The Diamondbacks, well, they're just hoping to limp back to Arizona at some point and having this last road trip that they're on right now not be too bad. But the Reds can make it an awfully bad road trip. They play them 4 right here in Cincinnati. This is Arizona-type heat, but it's also a ball club that they got to deal with the Reds that is awfully hot as well.
One thing both of these teams have in common is they play outstanding defense. They're the top 2 defensive teams in the entire National League.
Well, on the Reds' case, what it does is translate that defense into good pitching, because you can't have one without the other. And the Reds, I will go on record anytime and say they've got the best defensive infield in all the major leagues. I mean, everybody around that infield ought to have a Gold Glove. Most of them already do. Zach Cozart's the one that is missing. And I'll tell you what, they just flash more leather out there than anybody. But not too far behind them is how the Arizona Diamondbacks play defense. Their outfield leads the league in outfield assists. Their infield is very good, very solid. They've got an acrobat at second baseman in Aaron Hill. And believe me, these guys can turn the plays as well.
All right, so it's a first of 4 between these 2 teams. The top 2 defensive teams statistically in the entire National League. And when we come back, we'll talk about the opening game pitching matchup. A couple of good ones tonight. Wade Miley was an All-Star this year. Bronson Arroyo has been an All-Star. That and more coming up next on Fox Sports Ohio. It's brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Here's our good friend, Michelle Boudelet.
Look for mainly dry skies at the game this evening, but it will be hot and humid. 90 degrees by first pitch. Just a slim chance at a shower or thunderstorm. 88 degrees by the 7th inning stretch. By the end of the game, 83. I'm Local 12 meteorologist Michelle Boudelet for Fox Sports Ohio.
Michelle, thank you. I tell you who was red hot his last time out and having a pretty doggone good year is Bronson Arroyo.
No, you're not kidding about that. It was against the San Diego Padres. He went out there and threw a complete game, gave up only 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, and the guy was dominant all game long. The one thing he hasn't really done is figured out a way to get wins right here at Great American Ballpark. So far at 7 games at Great American Ballpark this year, he's got 6 no decisions and 1 loss. Time for him to nail a W down. He's going to have to do it tonight against an all-star, Wade Miley, a young guy, 25 years old, a starting pitcher, big left-hander with some pretty good stuff. He struggled lately, Miley has, but, you know, for a guy like that with his kind of stuff, and he's got good ones, it's just a matter of time until he puts it all together.
Alrighty, it's time for baseball. Redlegs trying to make it 7 consecutive wins. The first of 4 with Arizona right around the corner. Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Cincinnati USA, let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili tonight. Well, we're set to go here at Great American Ballpark. Bronson Arroyo on the mound facing Kirk Gibson's Arizona Diamondbacks. And Stephen Drew, healthy off the disabled list, looks at a breaking ball, strike 1, and we're underway. Drew playing in just his 13th game of the year. It was a year ago this week when he broke his ankle, and he's come all the way back, and he drops this one into right field for a leadoff hit. Let's take a look at Gibson's starting lineup tonight. Willie Bloomquist having a nice year coming up. Then it's Aaron Hill. Many believe he should have been an all-star. Miguel Montero, Justin Upton, Lyle Overbay in the middle. Chris Young, Gerardo Parra, and Wade Miley, the left-hander, the latter third. Get a look at the numbers on Bronson Arroyo, making his 18th start. and picked up his first complete game his last outing. That was in San Diego. Now Bloomquist. Strike one.
You know, if you look up and down this Arizona Diamondbacks lineup, you'll see a lot of players that in their career have had good success against Arroyo. Bloomquist being one of them. He's totally 5 for 11. That's a .455 batting average. Miguel Montero has hurt him. Lyle Overbay has always hit the Reds well, but especially Arroyo.
Bronson ahead of Bloomquist at 0-2. A .289 batter without a home run and 13 batted in. Bloomquist been a short time with the Reds. The final month, you may remember, of their Central Division title year of 2010. Signed late by Arizona and turned out to be a very good acquisition in 2011. As the Diamondbacks won the National League West and went on to the postseason a year ago. ...2012 has clearly been a disappointing year so far for the Diamondbacks. They swept the Dodgers the final 3 games leading up to the All-Star break to draw within 4 games of the division lead despite a very inconsistent first half of the year. But here they come hoping to build on that series against the Dodgers. They opened their first 3 games at Wrigley Field against the Cubs. And as Chris mentioned a moment ago, they scored a total of 3 runs in 3 days, losing all 3 games. Pirates will be playing in Colorado later tonight. Cardinals take their act on the road and play in Milwaukee. Drew was drifting off the bag, and that one finds a hole through the left side, and the first 2 Diamondbacks are on to start the game. Let's take a look at the Reds defensively, presented by your Ford dealers. Stubbs back in the lineup in center, flanked by Heisey and Bruce. Of note, first career start at first base for Todd Frazier. Joey Votto getting the night off. And a battery of Bronson Arroyo and Ryan Hannigan. Todd has only made 1 career major league appearance at the first base position. But if there's any guy in the game you figured that would adapt rather easily, it would be Frazier.
I mean, just a ball player. I think that's the way a lot of scouts like to characterize him. They don't grade him real high in any one area, but the guy just goes out there, gives you his all, and it's usually enough.
Strike one on Aaron Hill, having a really good year. Came over in the offseason from Toronto, and the Diamondbacks were as upset about Hill not making the All-Star team as many were around here in regard to both Brandon Phillips and Johnny Cueto.
Well, he's a nice player. I can't put him in the Brandon Phillips category as far as a defensive player is, but offensively he had better numbers than did Brandon Phillips at the time they decided who would be on the All-Star team.
Soft liner into center field, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. This is the first time the Diamondbacks have had a runner at third in an inning since the first inning after the All-Star break.
So far, it's just one of those innings for Bronson Arroyo. Stephen Drew got the bat out on the end of the ball on the end of the bat, kind of blooped it into right field. There was a 26 hopper in that 5.5 hole between third base and shortstop, and now Aaron Hill just kind of punches one into center field, not strong enough out there so that Drew Stubbs can come in and make a catch. And now that he's got bases loaded, Miguel Montero, of all the hitters that Bronson Arroyo has faced in this lineup, he's the guy that has given him the most problems. A couple of home runs and a batting average of .460.
Fouled out a play by Montero. 8 home runs, 45 runs batted in.
Looks to me early on that the game plan for Bronson Arroyo, as it often is to throw a lot of breaking balls early in the count. Looks like the game plan for the Diamondbacks is, hey, Arroyo is going to throw a lot of breaking balls early in the count. Sit back and look for it. And that's what they've done so far.
Down the left field line, and this is another hit, and the runs will come aplenty here in the opening inning for the Diamondbacks. They're going to wave around a third run. Here comes a throw to the plate. 4 batters, 4 hits, 3-0 Arizona. So the Diamondbacks have scored as many runs without an out being recorded here in the first inning tonight as they did in 27 innings at Wrigley Field.
Well, that's a pretty good bit of hitting right there by Montero. Maybe he's thinking he's going to get something other than a curveball, which he does. He gets a pitch about 86 miles an hour on the outer part of the plate, fires it right down the left field line, and clears the bases.
So now the struggling Justin Upton at 264. Been a lot of trade talk about Upton. Very talented, very athletic, former #1 pick out of Virginia. But only 7 home runs and just 37 runs batted in. Oh, and 2 to Upton. Upton and Jay Bruce have frequently been compared to one another, both #1 picks, very talented young players. Success long before the age of 25, where they both are now. But while certainly Bruce has been trending upward as far as his career numbers are concerned, and certainly on pace to have the best year of his major league career this year, Upton is still yet to knock in 100 runs, or 90 runs for that matter, in a season.
Yeah, his biggest year last year when he hit 31 home runs, he knocked in 88. Now, some of that might be a factor of not having enough runners on ahead of him. He'll knock one in here.
There's another bleeder off the end of the bat. Montero will score, and it is 4-0 Diamondbacks and nobody out.
Boy, what is going on? A little bit of a hanger right there, although he doesn't exactly crush that ball. He hits it good enough to find some green space in left center field. Dusty Baker's got to be thinking, can we start over?
Well, every year we see at least one of these, if not 2 of these from Arroyo. That would be about the max. But when they happen, they really happen.
They really do.
And again, to point out it, Chris, I think you said it best, and it's happened even the last 2 base hits. No ball in this inning has been squared up.
No. I mean, some days you just have games like this. Normally, what we've seen over the last few years is that Bronson Arroyo has these games almost exclusively against the Toronto Blue Jays. But tonight it's the Diamondbacks, and you know, even prior history shows that these guys have swung the bat well against them productively. You can't do a whole lot better than 5 hits and 4 runs and nobody out in the first inning. You don't even have a chance to get somebody loose in the bullpen by the time you're down by 4 runs.
On the outside corner, 2-1 on Lyle Overbay, and now the bullpen indeed gets busy. Right-hander Alfredo Simon beginning to throw. Arroyo's only thrown 17 pitches. The Diamondbacks had 5 hits and 4 runs on the first 14 pitches of the night.
Well, it's been 10 days since Arroyo's been out on the mound. So you might say, well, he's a little bit rusty, but he's not wild control-wise. He doesn't look like he's just firing a ball right down Broadway and they're knocking it off the fences. Looks like he's got decent break on his breaking ball. They're getting him at the wrong time. Or from their perspective, at the right time.
Line drive, a double play out. Might have been the hardest hit ball of the inning. And it's a double play.
Well, sometimes that's what it takes to get out of an inning like that, is an atom ball. And that one right at Todd Frazier as he comes off the first base bag. It's almost like it was fired down there by the catcher on a pickoff play. He tags the bag, and 2 outs finally, and the base is empty.
Seventh man to bat in the inning is Chris Young. Boy, you talk about a guy scuffling. Young started the year with 5 home runs in the first 2.5 weeks. Got hurt, missed a lot of time. He's been back for nearly a month and a half and has hit the same number of home runs in 41 games. All right, the Reds haven't hit yet. We got a long way to go. Not a good start. 4-0 Diamondbacks. Tonight. Talk about no Joey Votto. It's Stubbs, Cozart, and Frazier batting in Votto's spot, playing his position. Phillips, Bruce, and Rowland, latter third of Heisey, Hannigan, and Arroyo. And the Reds getting their first ever look at a very impressive rookie. A National League All-Star, 9-game winner, ERA fractionally above 3, and that's left-hander Wade Miley.
He was up a little bit last year for the Diamondbacks. He went 4-2 in 7 starts for the Diamondbacks last year. This year he won his first 9 of his 12 decisions. Overall, he's 9-5. He's dropped the last couple in a little bit of a mini slump. They're hoping that the All-Star break may have settled him down a little bit, and he can come back throwing the ball the way he did before the All-Star break.
Strike one to Drew Stubbs.
There was a fastball about 91. It will also throw a slider and a curveball and an occasional changeup.
Miley has allowed 4 home runs in his last 2 starts, after only giving up 5 in his first 83+ innings. And there's a base hit into left field by Stubbs to begin the Reds' first inning, trying to answer.
Well, if you're a good fastball hitter, or you like to hit the fastball, you'll like hitting off of Wade Miley. At least you think you would. He throws more fastballs percentage-wise than the average major league pitcher does. And he came right after Drew Stubbs with nothing but that number 1. Stubbs was able to turn on that and find a line drive. And, hey, you pack away a little bit here, get a few more there, and all of a sudden you're right back in the ballgame.
Well, of course, much is made frequently, and rightfully so. I mean, there's been a home run hit in each of the last 68 games here at Great American Ballpark. But the Reds and the Cardinals, for that matter, both proved if you pitch and pitch well, that you will get people out no matter where you pitch. Cardinals were the highest scoring team in the National League. They still are. They scored 7 runs in 3 days here. The Reds scored 11 runs in 3 games.
And that's during a hot July series where you would think the ball would normally carry pretty well.
Reds scored 12, I beg your pardon. And that was in an extra inning. .244 batter, 9 home runs, 19 batted in for the rookie shortstop, and he takes away 2-1 to Cozart. One hopper down to third. There's one, and there's two. Let's look at Arizona defensively, presented by your Ford dealers. Young, flanked by Parra and Upton in the outfield. Bloomquist and Overbay on the corners. Drew and Aaron Hill up the middle, with a battery of Miley and Miguel Montero. Now Todd Frazier with the bases empty. Of course, Joey Votto's seen a lot of that batting in the 3-hole the entire year. .279 batter is Frazier, 10 home runs and even 30 knocked in. Started 2 and took a strike. Well, not good news, as the Reds have just officially announced some very, very bad news, in fact, about Joey Votto. There have been some reports throughout the day as that ball is in the air to deep right center field and over the head and bouncing over the wall. A ground rule double for Todd Frazier, and Frazier might get used to playing first base for a while. Joey Votto will have surgery tomorrow to repair a torn meniscus and will miss anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, we're being told. And Chris, you and I have talked about it frequently. I'm not sure there's any player, single player in either league that is more important to his team than Joey Votto. And we're about to find out what the Reds are made out of over the next month.
Well, you're exactly right. You know, the short capsule with Votto not being Votto made you look over the last 18 ball games. Over that period of time, Joey Votto has only hit .250, but he still has come up with some big hits in key situations. Obviously, been on base a lot. But the Reds over those last 18 games have won 11, lost 7. Now, are you the same club without Joey Votto? No. Is he replaceable by the same kind of player? No. But it's up to everybody individually to just ratchet it up just a little bit more to try to do something to make up while he's out.
Well, a corresponding roster move for the Reds to replace Votto on the active roster, we're being told, will come tomorrow. But obviously, we wish Joey nothing but the very, very best. I think that's being a conservative estimate, 3 to 4 weeks. I know many of you out there that aren't professional athletes have been through meniscus surgery. Heck, I've been through it twice, for whatever that's worth. That ball is hooked into deep left center field, and this ball will go up against the wall. Young falls down, and Phillips will slam on the brakes with 2 outs in the inning with an RBI double to make it a 4-1 game.
Well, Brandon Phillips, he saw what Todd Frazier did with the double. He hit it over the center fielder's head. This time Upton goes to left center field, and that ball right in the corner of the wall right there. And Brandon Phillips, there he is, safe at second, safe and secure.
New York Life. Our statistician Joe Luckham has just given me some information, and in the what it's worth department, going back all the way to when Votto became a regular, 2009. The Reds are 28-28 when Joey Votto doesn't start. When he doesn't play at all, they're 25-21. So, again, just numbers. But certainly it's worth noting the Reds, a season high 12 games over 500. Coming into play tonight, winners of 6 in a row. 3 to 4 weeks from now when Joey Votto returns, hopefully, what will the numbers look like and where will they be in the National League Central? Jay Bruce going through a rough stretch here of late against left-handed pitching. Overall batting average at .249, team leader in 18 home runs, 57 runs batted in. See how the rest of the inning plays out, but how large right now is that double play ball? Reds have sent 4 batters to the plate, and they have hit 3 rockets off Miley. 3-1 on Jay Bruce. Holy Moses. Inning over on a 3-1 dribbler in front of the plate. Reds get on the board. They're down by 3. To go in this one. Fans a little bit shaken by that 4-run top of the first inning against Bronson Arroyo, but the Reds able to get one of them back, and here we go in inning number 2. Boy, look at that. In the first inning, Arroyo before tonight in 17 outings had allowed a total of 3 runs, and here we go in the Arizona second. A base hit by Parra. The Storylines brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio. Look at the Reds and where they rank, trailing even late in games, Chris.
Yeah, what's really deceptive is the winning percentage late in the ball game, but if you're the best in the National League, that's what you compare it by. So they're good at coming back. We've seen so many dramatic late inning rallies here, come from behind wins, especially at this ballpark.
When it goes, got a big time jump popped in the air, and this will be a double play. With a runner going, doesn't get any easier than that.
Now that's what you need when you've had a tough inning and a half like Bronson Arroyo had. And it seemed like he was out there for 4 innings in that first. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck. Had a lucky line drive right at Frazier to get a double play and then it out in the first inning. Here he gets a pop-up double play. Quick batter here, you get right back into the dugout.
I started to write down in my scorebook, and a lot of people that come to the ballpark, a lot of people that watch a game on TV keep score. It looked like Todd Frazier actually handed the ball to Brandon Phillips right in front of the bag and let him get the put out.
Yeah. You always think about your zone rating, number of put outs you have.
So I went 2 to 3 to 4 on the put out.
I'm being facetious right there. I mean, Brandon Phillips does not think about that when he's playing. He just wants to be the best defender ever. But he said, hey, I was here first.
And he was.
And we all know that rule.
The 4 runs given up by a Red starter matches the most runs allowed in the opening inning. Homer Bailey gave up 4 to the Cardinals back in the first week and a half of the season. And with all the problems the Reds had a year ago of giving up first inning runs, this year, what a turnaround. They have allowed the second fewest first inning runs in all of the National League going into play tonight. And here is a walk to Stephen Drew. Chris, you've been out there on the mound. Is this one of those nights where maybe you hang in there for 2 or 3 innings if you're Arroyo, you battle through keeping it at 4 runs, and some of your stuff can start to come around a little bit as the game goes on?
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, not every time you go out there do you have a great feel of all your pitches. Do you have good command of your breaking ball where you can throw it where you want to? Most of the time it is a struggle, and Arroyo will tell you that. In fact, he'll tell you an awful lot. Man, I didn't have good stuff tonight. I just really had a battle with him. Look at what Matt Latos did the other night. He went 5 innings, only gave up 2 runs, kept the Reds in the ball game.
There's another base hit. This one by Bloomquist. He is 2 for 2 in a game. That is 7 hits for the Diamondbacks and 8 base runners in now an inning and 2/3. Now Aaron Hill, he singled into center field and was one of the 4 to score in the opening inning. Strike 1.
This young man has had a nice career. Had a big breakout year in 2009 in Toronto where he knocked 36 home runs and drove in more than 100. Lifetime hitter of 270.
Of course, he was part of those Toronto teams that a couple of years in a row lit up Bronson Arroyo. And there were some that felt like somehow, some way, they were able to pick up something that Arroyo was doing in terms of tipping his pitches.
Yeah, and I think that one thing is what they call, a scout will call flaring his glove on a certain pitch, meaning he'll spread his fingers and his hands apart a little bit more on a breaking ball than he would on a fastball. Hitters could pick that up as he was coming to the plate and know what's coming.
That one lined into center field, but it'll be an out. So a scoreless second for the Diamondbacks despite 3 base runners. Look forward to Miller time coming up later in our game tonight. Brought to you by Miller Lite. A Reds fan hits a Toyota sign during our game. Pat Lavelle from Rising Sun, Indiana, will be the proud winner of the new Tundra that's on display at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win in an upcoming game. Stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. One of the heroes last night. Boy, what a clutch hit it was. 2 outs. Tie game. Bottom of the 8th inning. And Scotty Rowland shot one into right center field, driving in 2. As the Reds finished off the Cardinals, this was a big hit for the Reds and for Rowland.
Well, you're not kidding about that. They brought a right-hander in just to base in, and there it goes into right center field to drive a couple of runs in.
Well, Rowland now has 2 hits in each of the last 2 games, including that hit last night, the game winning. Behind here, 1-2 on Wade Miley, who strikes him out swinging. Now Heisey at 276, 3 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Strike 1. Base hit. Well, really the first time around the league outside of the starts he made last year. Our Farmers Insurance report card on Miley, how he's fared inside the Reds Central Division and then against everybody else.
Now he's done not too well against the Central Division, but that's a small sample size of just 4 starts. But against everybody else, 10 starts. You'll take any young left-hander at 25 years old who could run up a 6-3 record. And you've got to really consider that his home ballpark in Phoenix is considered a hitter's ballpark. Very dry there, obviously. It's tough to get spin on the baseball. It gives you a little bit of an advantage if you're more of a hard throwing pitcher than you are a soft curveball pitcher.
And a lot of people don't know, but they might be surprised to learn that Phoenix, Arizona is 1,000 feet or more above sea level. It's the 2nd highest elevation of any city in Major League Baseball outside of Denver.
Romani's had no problem getting used to the altitude out there. After all, he's from an area that is right around sea level. Born in Louisiana, Miley is. He's a Cajun.
Supplemental 1st-round pick, 43rd overall in 2008. And they found him at Southeastern Louisiana University. You ever been down there?
I've not been there. I know that he was drafted by the other D team, the D Rays, when they drafted him back in 2005. He was a 20th round pick out of high school, decided not to go there, decided to go to college. But he's told his teammates he's been gator hunting, that he's actually bought shrimp from the family that has been made famous by that captivating show that I watch all the time, Swamp People. He's actually bought shrimp from Troy Landry, which makes him somewhat of a celebrity in my book. You ever watch that show?
No, I have not. I've heard many of you talk about it. It's called Swamp People.
Yeah. Oh, you got a TiVo that. Maybe for Christmas I'll get you the set.
Well, let me know how much money it is, and if you just like to give me that, I'll take that instead.
It's not the way Christmas works.
1-2 the count. And it's by the 3rd baseman Bloomquist. Racing on to 3rd is Heisey. So a hard hit ball that just ate up the Diamondbacks' 3rd baseman, and the Reds have him on the corners with a pitcher coming up.
We highlighted the defense that the Diamondbacks have played this year. There's a rare breaking ball from Wade Miley, and it's really hit very hard right down to third base. Willie Bloomquist is not a real third baseman. I mean, he's a utility player. He's played shortstop. The Reds have had him in outfield when he played here a little bit. And that's a ball that he probably could have made or should have made. And anyway, it gets by you. And in this ballpark, anybody can hurt you, including the pitcher.
Arroyo 6 hits and 31 at bats. He's not been a good bunter this year. In his career, he's been an outstanding bunter. But this year, for whatever reason, not nearly as sharp. He has just one sacrifice. Of course, he does generally put the bat on the ball. So just because he showed bunt the first time, and now he squares around, and you can't do it any better than that. He'll advance a runner Hannigan on to second. So a pair in scoring position, and here comes the top of the order.
Yeah, some people might be sitting at home thinking, well, why in the world would you bunt right there? Now you've got 2 outs. You got the pitcher up at first and third. And Arroyo's a pretty good hitter. After all, he's batting nearly 200. Maybe you should let him swing away. Well, I think the main reason is you just try to stay out of the double play ball. Double play ball there kills the inning, no doubt about it. And a strikeout doesn't help you much either. So you hope the top of the order, who hit the ball fairly hard against Wade Miley, can do the same this time around.
Stubbs, one of those guys. He hooked a base hit into left field his first time up. Calling the balls and strikes tonight. Crew chief Jerry Lane at first, Vic Carapazza at second, and Larry Vanover, the umpire, at third.
Take another look at that one.
Wow. 1-1 to Stubbs, and now 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, no wonder he's going to live down there. Bolino's going to give him that low pitch where it was. That's a good place to be.
Dribbled into center field. It'll blade 2 runs, and the Reds are within 1 after the 2-out single by Stubbs.
How about a little 2-out lightning right here? Happened pretty quickly. Heisey, Hannigan, a bunt by Arroyo, and then a 2-out base knock by Drew Stubbs as he was able to bounce this ball right by the shortstop, Drew, who was pulled around in that 5.5 hole. They figured they were going to pitch him down with fastballs and changeups and hoping that Stubbs would pull the ball more. All of a sudden, you got a 1-run ball game.
Cozart, the batter, hit a 1-hopper right at Bloomquist down at third that turned into a double play in the opening inning. And now you have that tying run at first and very good speed. Stubbs 17 of 21 in stolen base tries.
So you go back to Arroyo's bunt, only a second sacrifice of the year, but the Reds were able to make something positive out of it. You know, Miley, I guess you would call the left-handed version of Johnny Cueto from the standpoint of shutting the running game down. He has given up only 1 stolen base all year long. Arizona catchers have thrown out 4, and he has picked off 2. That's 1 for 7.
Is that St. Xavier High School math? You told me you were never going to do math in public again.
Did I mess it up already?
No, you didn't. I'm just double checking because I know you would double and triple and quadruple check anything that came out of my mouth, and you would be right in doing so.
Well, I think I'm right because as in the TV business, we say I pre-produced it.
Good deal. Nice.
I added 4 and 2 and 1 several hours before the game. Thank you.
You're welcome. That would take it up and away. One and 0 on Kozai. That ball's in the air, right field, and will end the inning. But after falling behind 4-0 after a half inning, 1 in the first, 2 more in the second, it's a 1-run game and a long way to go. Fox Sports Ohio, and let us know your favorite moment over the last weekend series sweep of the Cardinals. And make sure to use the hashtag RedsLive, and we'll show some of those responses later in the game. Arizona scored 4 runs on 5 hits, first 5 batters of the game. They got 2 hits and a walk in the second inning. But the Reds have found a way to get 1 in the opening frame, 2 more in the second, and now they're down just 4-3 as we open the third. Miguel Montero, Justin Upton, and Lyle Overbay coming up.
Go get a little bit of that Manny Mota sticky stuff.
Well, how about that exchange between Bryce Harper and Ozzie Guillen,
which then turned into an exchange between Ozzie Guillen and Davey Johnson. I'm not sure that Bryce Harper ever said anything. Ozzie Guillen complained to the home plate umpire that he thought that the pine tar on Bryce Harper's bat was extended too far up the barrel, making it illegal. Switched his bat, grounded out. Davey Johnson took exception. Makes baseball fun, doesn't it?
1 and 2 on Montero. Those Washington Nationals under Davey Johnson, a whopping 16 games over 500, trying to hold off the streaking Braves. Atlanta winners of 7 in a row, 3 behind Washington. And the Nationals out to a 1-0 third inning lead tonight in Miami. Reds with a 1-game lead in the National League Central after the Pirates lost 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee to begin the second half. And the Reds, of course, sweeping the Cardinals, who are now 4.5 back.
Well, how many pitchers do you know intentionally throw a changeup up and in to the opposite kind of hitting hitter? But Arroyo will do that. Very unpredictable. Tried to backdoor him, or actually front door him with a little changeup right there.
That one muscled into deep right field. Bruce back to the wall, and that one is out of here to right a home run. Well, it might be one of those nights where Arroyo's not going to get it together. A Great American Ballpark home run, albeit. But it would not be a surprise to see Alfredo Simon up and throwing again.
Well, Montero has simply owned Bronson Arroyo in his career against him. That time he got that pitch up, a sidearm curveball, and didn't hit it great, just enough to get it out of here.
69 straight games now a home run has been hit inside of Great American Ballpark, going back to July of last season in a game against the Giants.
You know, one way you can tell that Arroyo really doesn't feel great tonight is that he's not throwing very many fastballs. Taking something off almost every fastball he throws, just so he's trying to get a little movement or location on it. That might be his best of the night right there.
Simon is up for a second time. He was up and throwing in the opening inning. Arroyo has already given up 8 base hits. And we're one batter now, a second batter into the 3rd inning. But he's only down by 2 runs. Came back with another fastball. And that takes care of Upton.
Well, Hannigan wants it low. He gets it high, but it doesn't make any difference. Upton there caught on strikes.
Lyle Overbay now the batter. He lined out to Frazier that turned into a double play in the 1st inning. Strike 1 from Arroyo. Overbay has bounced around quite a bit in his major league career after initially coming back as a Diamondback. Came up in their farm system as part of a huge deal when the Diamondbacks went out and traded for the former Brewers slugger Richie Sexton. That one hit on a laser right at Bruce for a second down. Why not begin your weekend Friday night at Great American Ballpark? It'll be the Reds and the Brewers, and stick around for the postgame fireworks show. It'll be a country soundtrack this Friday night thanks to Cooper Tires. Reds baseball and fireworks Friday night, 381 Reds. Visit select Kroger locations or visit Reds.com tonight. Two are out for Chris Young, a strikeout victim his first time. Slow breaking ball drops in there at 67 miles per hour, a strike. Off the end of the bat down the left field line, and a good jump by Heisey to run it down. So a home run by Montero. The lead is 2 for Arizona. Boys and Girls Clubs of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. 5-3 ball game with Arizona in front. The opening game of this 4-game series. We'll have night games obviously tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday, and then an afternoon game to wrap it up Thursday before Milwaukee comes in Friday. Frazier doubled over the head of Young in center field his first time up. And if you weren't with us earlier, the Reds announced right after the game began that Joey Votto will undergo knee surgery with a torn meniscus in his left knee. That was the knee he injured sliding into third base in the 5th inning in San Francisco on June the 29th, and is expected to miss anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. Roller to Stephen Drew, and Frazier thrown out to begin the Reds' third. Joey Votto issued a statement saying it is in my best interest and the best interest of the Reds to do it right now so that I can be healthy during the last 2 months of the pennant race. And Chris, you and I talked about this. Votto in the first 2 games of the series against the Cardinals just did not look right.
No.
Now he had a big night last night, but he just did not look the same.
Well, he said that he did it sliding into third base back on June the 29th. That was the series when the Reds were in San Francisco. Of course, they played in Los Angeles and then San Diego after that. And not knowing whether it was something that maybe was just aggravated, there's the slide that caused it in the first place. That's one of the most common knee injuries an athlete will have is the torn meniscus.
What's the most
had
common?
a couple?
I've had it, 2 of them, one on each knee. And,
I had one?
Yep. And, you know, for anybody who's ever had them, you can function day in and day out, but the second you try to do anything athletically, and for a stiff like me, that means just going out and running a couple of miles. It'll hurt at the beginning, it'll loosen up, and then, man, all of a sudden when it starts, it is unbelievably painful. And there's just no way that you're going to be able to go through 3 months of a Major League Baseball season playing every day with a torn meniscus. It's just not going to happen. And so, you know, with the medical care that these players are blessed to have, Dr. Kremchek, I'm assuming, will do the surgery. His rehab staff out there at Beacon is off the charts. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back sooner than that, but that's generally the timetable.
Well, that is obviously how your body responds, but you know he'll work hard at it, maybe harder than anybody, in order to come back. The guy seems superhuman in a lot of different ways. Maybe healing is one of those too.
Swing and a miss by Phillips, and Miley has retired the first 2 Reds here in the third.
He's a no-nonsense kind of guy, Miley is. I mean, he doesn't stand around the mound and wait between pitches. I mean, he gets it and goes. In fact, it reminds me a little bit of Tom Browning, just the way Browning would pitch up in the strike zone a little bit more. But he's very simple. Miley's fastball, breaking ball, changeup. No cutter, doesn't try to, do a lot of different things. He gets it and he is ready to go. 0-2 on Bruce. Miley's now waiting on the mound saying, all right, I'm ready when you are. Go ahead and get it back in the box.
One ball, 2 strikes on Jay Bruce, and there's a swing and a miss and a 1-2-3 third inning for Miley. We move to the 4th. Arizona 5, the Reds 3. Great American Ballpark Wednesday night. If you're one of the first 25,000 fans through the gates, you get a Jay Bruce bobblehead courtesy of Chiquita. So tickets are available for every game of this series and the remainder of the homestand. 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to Reds.com tonight. Well, the night is over for Bronson Arroyo. 3 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. And he'll give way. What a year this young man is having after the Reds picked him up off the scrap heap before opening day. From Baltimore, Alfredo Simon.
Well, he got a win on Friday afternoon evenings game. That's when the Reds beat the Cardinals 5-3. That was his first victory as a Red, and he came in after, I don't know, almost a couple of weeks of not throwing the baseball in a real game and had uncanny control.
Went 2 innings, allowed 1 hit, struck out 3. He walked 2 batters. The final inning he pitched, but he didn't give up a run. That was in relief of Matt Latos, who threw over 100 pitches in his 5 innings. Rolled it down to third. And Gerardo Parra thrown out to open the 4th.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody, when you look at Alfredo Simon and say, well, is he poised for a breakout season? Obviously, if the Orioles thought he was, they would never have made him available on the waiver wire. I mean, last year earned run average of 4.9. He won 4, lost 9. The year before that, he had a 4.9. Was in the big leagues just a little bit the 2 previous years. But here's a guy who's 6'6", 240 pounds, throws 96 miles an hour, and has a nice feel of his breaking ball. So the Reds just may have picked this guy up just at the right time.
Fastball knee high on the outside corner at 95. Dribbler up the first base line, and the big fella's there to get it 2 out. Get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every single game with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Of course, Chris Welsh today had the checklist back in prime time tonight. That's big league stuff you presented, as usual.
Tried to keep it simple, but I had very good help. Guy sitting to your left, our statistician, and a good one, Joel Luckham, came up with some ideas for me. It's a team effort up here.
Fastball in there, strike to Stephen Drew. Drew has been aboard twice in the game, playing in just his 13th game this year. It was July the 20th of last season. You're talking about an Arizona team now that was right in the middle of everything, just after the All-Star break. One of the main weapons in their lineup is Drew, and he broke his right ankle on a slide into home against the Brewers on July the 20th. He had surgery the very next day. Drew, a former #1 pick. I mean, he's always pretty much been a guy hitch anywhere from 12, 15, as many as 21 home runs. When he plays regularly, he'll knock in anywhere from 50 to 70 runs. But he is a free agent at the end of this year, and many feel like there is no chance he will return to the Diamondbacks. Got a pair of brothers that reach the major leagues. Many of you familiar with J.D. Drew. His brother Tim, also a big leaguer, and all 3 of them first-round picks. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
3 brothers in the same household. I mean, you know, the odds of reaching the major leagues would be, under that scenario, millions if not billions to one. But the odds even bigger than that, perhaps, of being a first-round pick for all three brothers. Driven into right center field. That'll fall in a base hit. And Drew on base for the third time in as many plate appearances, this time with a 2-out single.
He's got a nice level swing. There's no question about that. Stephen Drew's always been a good fastball hitter. And in this at bat, finally, Alfredo Simon got that ball up, a breaking ball that kind of stayed about thigh high for him.
So now Willie Bloomquist, like Drew, has been aboard twice in the game. First four hitters in this Arizona lineup already with 6 and now make it 7 base hits. Come for the Reds Day for more fun. Visit Mighty Mike at Newport Aquarium, the biggest gator in the country. Make it a getaway weekend. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. Alfredo needs an out. Retired the first 2 to begin the inning. And now has allowed consecutive singles to Drew and Bloomquist. And here's Aaron Hill, 1 out of 2. Sinking liner, and Bruce will make the diving play to take away a hit and at least 1 run. Outstanding play made by Jay Bruce. And Arizona denied a run here in the 4th inning. Great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Tomorrow night, don't forget, you'll have another chance to play along with Fox Sports Ohio at foxsportsohio.com. You log on before the game against Arizona, answer the questions, and follow along during the game. And our buddy Jim Day announces the winner on Reds Live. Play along tomorrow. Five runs, 10 hits for the Diamondbacks. No run, 3 hits rather, 6 hits for the Reds. Scott Rowland to lead things off here in the 4th inning, followed by Heise and Hannigan against Wade Miley. Scotty struck out his first time up. Miley has 3 of those in the game. In fact, he struck out the last 2 batters he faced. Phillips and Brewster in the 3rd inning. It's amazing how one piece of news, a very large piece of news regarding Joey Votto, how it changes everything in terms of what you thought was important before. We were wondering at the end of the first half and at the beginning of the second half, what would happen with Rowland down at 3rd? Was it going to be Rowland? Was it going to be Frazier? And now all of a sudden, the only question that anybody wants answered is who's going to play first while Votto is out for maybe a month. 1 out in the inning.
Well, tonight it's Todd Frazier out there. I'd imagine he's going to get a fair amount of that playing time there. That is as long as Scott Rowland can play and stay healthy at 3rd base. But here's what you're trying to replace in Joey Votto, maybe the best pure hitter in the National League, if not all of baseball. 49 runs batted in. He walks more than he strikes out, which means he's on base about 48 or 49% of the time. Every time you turn around, the guy's running the bases. So you're losing a presence in the lineup, not just a hitter that puts up numbers. You're losing a guy that the other manager, the other pitcher, the other catcher who's calling the game looks over and says, man, let's make sure we pitch around this lineup so we don't get Votto in a situation where he can really hurt us. So now it really becomes a team effort.
It is very interesting to know that when you look at the lineup, and obviously the Reds knew that Joey Votto was having some health problems, experiencing knee problems to be more specific. But when Dusty Baker put this batting order together tonight, Chris, I don't know if you find it interesting. I find it very interesting that a lot of times you want to break up those left-handed hitters. There's a high fly ball into left field. Parra short of the track will haul it in, 2 out. But that Frazier is a guy that bats in a 3-hole. And you go righty, 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 righty before you get to the only left-hander in the entire lineup. Of course, you do have a left-hander on the mound. I mean, does that mean that Jay Bruce goes into the 3-hole when you play against right-handed pitchers?
Well, I think the last time that Joey Votto was given a day off, that's what happened, right? That Jay Bruce was in that number 3 hole. And I think it had a lot to do with the left-hander being on the mound today. Wade Miley obviously tough on lefties. He's held Bruce hitless in a couple of at-bats.
Ryan Hannigan singled and scored when the Reds tallied a pair in the 3rd inning against Miley to get, at the time, within 1 run. Arizona got a home run by Montero the top of the 3rd inning, and that's where we stand here in the 4th. 5-3 Diamondbacks.
Well, it's been rumored back and forth that, you know, here is that we get up to the trading deadline. The Reds are thinking about making a move. Walt Jocketty has gone on record saying we'd like to have somebody who can bat the number 4 spot. That way we get Brandon Phillips back to the leadoff spot. I mean, you wonder now if the thinking is going to change just a little bit, because you do have 3 weeks to a month to cover without Joey Votto. And you've got one left-hander on this roster. One left-handed hitter, and that's Jay Bruce. So now you've really shown everybody in the world that, you know, you were awfully right-handed before, but you had Joey Votto. He was a great equalizer. You no longer have him. So now, if you're looking for a hitter out there, or even a temporary play, maybe you go out and you look for a left-handed hitting player of some kind, even just to put on your bench. We don't know yet what the Reds will do as far as their roster move. to replace Votto on the roster. That will be done tomorrow.
Inning over. 1, 2, 3 for Miley in back-to-back frames. Has retired 7 in a row. Who was the last Reds left-handed pitcher to throw a complete game? Give you one hit. 11 years ago today, 2001. I don't know if those young ladies were even born yet. And of course the Reds do not have a left-hander in their rotation right now, although the plan still is, of course, that looking ahead to 2013, Aroldis Chapman may well be in the Reds starting rotation, and if that's the case, he might be the next left-hander for the Reds to throw a complete game. Maybe.
It's a long time to wait. 11 years between complete games. We haven't had one from a left-hander. That's 11 years and counting.
Alfredo Simon on relief of Bronson Arroyo lasted 3 innings, allowed all 5 runs. This season, every single member of the Reds starting rotation, all 5 of them, and they've only used 5 the entire year, but each has a complete game this season.
Which nowadays is not an easy thing to do.
No.
I mean, it used to be a lot easier 15 or 20 years ago when there was no pitch count. There wasn't the media watching the scoreboard where they actually count pitches on the scoreboard to show you whether you're throwing strikes or balls and how many overall. Once you hit that 100 mark, people are going, uh-oh, you hit 100 pitches. Well, they need a bigger scoreboard 20 years ago. Because back in those days, guys were throwing 150 pitches a game sometimes. Boy, what a sinking fastball right there for Alfredo Simon. That ball just bottomed out.
First strikeout for the big fella. Now it's Upton. 1 of 2, a run scoring single and a 4-run first. Struck out swinging against Arroyo in the 3rd. Base hit into center field by Upton. Well, Kevin Towers, a general manager, of course, for many, many years. Towers held that role in San Diego. And now 3 years running with the Diamondbacks. Sat down with Justin Upton recently to explain to him exactly what was going on. All the rumors were swirling about Upton being on the block, trading block. And in a nutshell, Towers just said, look, I listen to anybody and everybody. He told Upton, when I was a general manager for the San Diego Padres, I would listen if somebody called me to pick up the phone to talk about trading Trevor Hoffman. He said, I never did trade him. He said, the good news is there are a lot of teams out there that think a lot of you. He said, but right now nobody thinks more about you than we do as the Diamondbacks. And Upton is very much a lightning rod for talk radio and fan banter out in Arizona. Primarily because he is the very face of the franchise.
And also because he is incredibly talented. And to those who are given talent, much is expected, right? And they expect him to put up big numbers every year. Last year, 31 home runs. Batting average up around 290. Good on base percentage. Stole more than 20 bases. So he's the whole package as far as power, speed, batting average. So when you have a bad year and you wonder about your trading, sometimes it's interpreted as pouting a little bit. And I'll tell you, I think the ball players now, they've got so much more to deal with all the people who are following them around with blog spots and Twittering and super analyzing their numbers and boiling them up and spinning them around in different ways and trying to prove either why you are or are not what you should have been. It's harder now than ever probably to try to block it out. It used to be you just didn't have to read the paper. Now you can't even pick up your cell phone.
1-2 on Overbay. Struck him out swinging. And that's that same sinking fastball / slider like movement. He's throwing that thing at 91 miles per hour.
Well, let's take a look at our Mazda pitch by pitch. It turns out in a strikeout of Lyle Overbay, he's already hit a couple of line drives. Overbay has to the right field side, and they're trying to pitch him away. A little change up there. He comes inside with it and swings right over the top of a 91-mile-an-hour sinker. Just a nice, easy motion for Alfredo Simon.
Runner going, and a throw by Hannigan is not going to be in time, and Upton stole that base off Simon. That's his 11th in 19 opportunities.
He's a big guy, and we talk about it with Matt Latos. I mean, when you're 6'6", it just takes you a little bit longer to get everything ready to deliver a good pitch to the plate, and in that process you give the runner a chance to get a big lead on you.
Now Simon has fallen behind 3 balls and no strikes on Chris Young. And there's ball 4. So 2 on, 2 are out, and here's Parra. Parra singled into left field leading off the second inning, and then bounced out to Scott Rowland. That was the very first batter that Alfredo Simon faced after replacing Arroyo an inning ago. And it's hooked to the right side, down on one knee to make sure. Phillips, inning over. 2 more left on base for the Diamondbacks. Reds bat last of the 5th, down a pair. .com to get the very latest on the Joey Votto story. For those of you that have not heard, Votto will undergo knee surgery tomorrow on his injured left knee. Torn meniscus, expected to be out anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. And right now you can chat live with Baseball Hall of Fame writer Hal McCoy, our very own Hall of Famer. Alfredo Simon will lead things off here in the Reds' 5th, trailing Wade Miley and the Diamondbacks by 2. Alfredo gone on strikes, and that's now 8 in a row set down by the Arizona left-hander. Kroger and the Reds are proud to offer up a great value this year, the Kroger Meal Deal. Just check out concession stands around the ballpark. You get a full-size hot dog, a bag of chips, a 16-ounce Coke, and on this homestand, a pack of Emerald Nuts. Get the Kroger Meal Deal on your next trip to Great American Ballpark, all for just $8. Let's see if the Reds can get anything going now. But at top of the order, last man to reach was this man, Drew Stubbs, a 2-run single in the second inning, 2-0. High pop up, an easy play in short right. Upton's got it, 2 gone.
Wade Miley begins to look like he's really settling in. Reds hit the ball hard in the first inning. Even the double play ball by Zach Cozart was sharply hit right down to the third baseman. But a couple of doubles back to back by Frazier and Phillips, scored a run. They hit the ball hard in the second inning, scored a couple of runs on that ball by Drew Stubbs that went in there for a 2-out, 2-run knock. It seems like ever since then, Miley's gotten kind of on a roll where he's thrown a lot of fastballs, still over 70% fastballs, and just kind of moving the ball around. Occasional changeup like that to a right-hander, but primarily fastball slider.
Talk about it all the time when a guy gets into a rhythm like this, and you can see the Reds are really playing right into Miley's rhythm. They're not stepping out of the box. They're in a hurry to get back in there. Miley's in a hurry to stand there on the rubber. And that is a foul ball. Not by much. About a foot.
That's that breaking ball that you get from a left-hander that comes in rather hard, 83 miles an hour. But he starts it on the middle part of the plate, and by the time you hit it as a right-hander, it's so hard to keep that ball fair. You want to turn on it when you do. You hit it hard, but usually in foul territory.
Now Cozart taking a little bit of time, and now back into box, and serves one out of play down the right field line. Count has gone full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Zach Cozart. 9th pitch in this at bat coming up from Miley. There'll be a 10th.
One thing you can say about Wade Miley's breaking ball is he really stays on top of it and drives it straight down. It really doesn't go from side to side very much. That maybe just drops straight down and tough to elevate.
Well, he elevated that one a little bit, and Cozart chases it. That's 6 strikeouts, 5 of them in the last 3 innings. In the 3-game sweep over the Cardinals, I had 8 favorite moments. Chapman striking out a Cardinal. How good was Aroldis Chapman over the weekend?
Well, he's striking out everybody, so he's not just discriminating against the Cardinals, but man, how about last night dialing it up to 100 miles an hour in the last batter that he faced and struck out the side in the 9th inning. That's why all those people, nearly 40,000, came to the ballpark last night to see the sweet And also to see Aroldis Chapman put an exclamation point on that 3-game series.
So his 3rd day in a row of pitching, 2nd time he's ever done that in his major league career. I asked him before the game today, "You good to go today?" He said, "You better believe it." Now, it'd probably be a surprise to see him come into the game. But boy, this crowd last night that we had in this ballpark, if there is ever a regular season game that would give you a foreshadowing of a postseason game, it would be the crowd we had in this ballpark last night. This place was jumping. Huge crowds, of course, over the weekend. Over 117,000 sellouts Friday, and then again last night, nearly a sellout Saturday. Miley got a piece of that one. Squirts out of the glove of Ryan Hannigan. Remains 2-2. Miley 0 for 2. Alfredo Simon beginning inning number 3. Has allowed 3 hits. Walked a batter, struck out 2. Diamondbacks have put 2 base runners on against him in each of his first 2 innings, but they have not scored. It's still a 2-run ball game. I don't know if Hannigan has any more fingers after Simon kept shaking him off. Well, that's not a good sign there. Ahead of the pitcher, and you lose him and walk him to begin the inning. Time to answer our AT&T trivia question. Who was the last left-handed Reds pitcher to throw a complete game? You go back 11 years ago, and the answer is Lance Davis. You remember him?
I do indeed. Had a nice fastball, could pitch up in the strike zone. And I remember correctly, Lance Davis went, after that 2001 season, went home. And he was a gun enthusiast, like a hunting enthusiast. And he shot a lot of guns off with the barrel or the butt of the gun up against his left shoulder. And he came back to spring training, and his arm was compromised. And they said it was directly related to the fact that he shot the gun so many times over in the wintertime, I guess a shotgun, that he hurt his arm. Go figure that.
Caught by diving Brandon Phillips. And Drew retired for the first time tonight.
Showing a lot of range out there. As usual, Brandon Phillips makes that grab, and Miley gets back before he gets doubled off.
That ball had a lot of knuckle on it, or a lot of top spin on it, because Brandon looked like he was ready to catch that thing standing up. Then it took a nosedive straight down, and he got it right before it hit the dirt. Boy, if you think the Reds had a bad first inning tonight, how about the Baltimore Orioles? Minnesota Twins are batting in the bottom of the first inning, and they have scored 7 times. You can sell that thing from here to the end of eternity about we've got a long way to go. 4-0's one thing. A 7 spot? Mercy. Reds haven't figured this guy out tonight. 3 at bats, 3 singles, and a run scored. Willie Bloomquist. Phillips a bare hand, and he can't turn the double play. Wow. That's a risky play. If you make it, it looks great, and it gives you a chance to turn the double play. But, boy, you miss it, and it's trouble.
Tell you what else it does. It keeps you on your toes if you're a shortstop. I mean, you've got to be ready if you're a Zach Kozar, because you know the ball's coming. You're just not sure what hand, when, and from what angle.
Now Aaron Hill, 1 of 3, singled and scored in the 4-run first, is lined out to center and nearly had a double and a couple of RBIs were it not for a sliding catch for the final out in the 4th inning made by Jay Bruce. Pirates and the Rockies underway. They're in the top of the 1st inning at mile-high altitude. And the Cardinals and the Brewers are scoreless in the bottom of the 2nd inning at Miller Park. Reds will have 3, 4, and 5 in the batting order in the bottom of this 6th inning. That'll be Frazier, Phillips, and Bruce, down only 2. And hoping to come to bat, still down just 2. 1 more out to go for Simon. What more than likely will be Alfredo's final inning of work.
You know, it's interesting how he has held up. I mean, he took a couple of weeks off, really, and then pitched on Friday night, pitched 2 1/3, 2 2/3, something like that. Then you get him a few days off again, you come back, and this is when the soreness hits you on a day like today. And you wonder how much stamina you really have because your arm is not conditioned to throw, get back up, take a couple of days off, throw again. No matter how much you throw in the bullpen, you just cannot replicate the same feeling you get with the adrenaline. The way you finish pitches in a game is not the same in the bullpen. Even a simulated game can't get it.
Well, you and I were talking on that West Coast trip in San Diego. How the starters had that run of 10 consecutive quality starts, and it was guys like Simon, Sam LeCure, Bill Bray after he was activated.
West Coast vacation.
Yeah, I mean, most of those guys never touched the ball. That's in the air off the end of the bat, and this should retire the side. What a job by Simon again.
You're not kidding.
3 innings, no runs. One of the first 20,000 fans through the gate on Saturday. You get that red soft-sided cooler courtesy of Hebrew National. Tickets are available for the remainder of the homestand, including the Brewers over the weekend. Come on down to the ballpark. Those things are very, very nice. Wade Miley, after a very shaky start, allowed 3 runs and 6 hits through the first 2 innings of this game, has now retired 10 batters consecutively. And pitching like a guy who could have been an all-star, and that he was. The only Arizona Diamondback to go to the All-Star game. Their team president, Derek Hall, much like Reds fans and certainly managers, Ron Renicky, and some fans in other cities in both the National and American Leagues, very, very vocal about both Aaron Hill and Jason Kubel, who's not in the lineup tonight, not making the All-Star team. Kubel knocked in 60 runs before the break. And to quote Derek Hall, he said, you know, we got hurt out here based on hype for the future, and I think that would probably be aimed a little bit at Bryce Harper, and that'd be understandable. I mean, Kubel doubled the amount of runs driven in so far as Bryce Harper. 3-2 on Frazier. Todd had doubled to deep right center field and scored in the Reds' first inning. 3-2 pitch. We'll do it again.
I'm not sure if Jason Kubel will be back in the lineup tomorrow. He came out with a hamstring yesterday when they were playing against the Cubs. That was a nice pickup the Diamondbacks made, getting him from the Minnesota Twins.
One hopper down to third, 1 out. Hey, the Twins lost a lot. You combine Kubel and Michael Kadire.
Well, what the Diamondbacks have lost this year, and that may be the missing ingredient for them. Yeah, we've talked about their lack of offense and so on, but when you lose Daniel Hudson in the middle of your rotation, gone now for the season with elbow problems, he had shoulder problems earlier in the year, really never had anywhere near the kind of beginning of the season that he had all year last year. All of a sudden, you're really starting to scramble to try to find 200 innings somewhere.
One and one on Brandon. Bill Bray. We will see him in the 7th inning.
This isn't mop-up work for this Reds bullpen. I mean, it's a 2-run ball game right here. It seems like a bigger spread because of the way Miley is shutting down the Reds hitters.
And that will fall in front of Justin Upton. That'll be a base hit for Phillips, and the string of 11 straight set down by Miley is over.
Well, Brandon Phillips has been scorching hot. Over the last 4 or 5 games, he's hit the ball very hard, spraying it all over the place. Really good slow-mo look at Brandon Phillips, keeping his head right down on it. Love that look. Brought to you by Performance Honda, that Exmo replay.
Breaking ball is low and in. 1 ball and 1 strike on Jay Bruce. Bruce is tapped out to the catcher and struck out, and there's a little pop up into left field. 2 outs in the inning. See the numbers on Miley, very impressive indeed. After giving up those 3 runs and the 6 base hits in the first 2 innings, he's gone through the last 3 2/3, allowing just the 1 hit to Phillips a moment ago. So you wonder how long they're going to stay with him. And there's a base hit by Rowland into center field, so Heisey's going to bat, representing the go-ahead run with 2 on here in the 6th and 2 men out.
When Scott Rowland can keep that swing tight, it just seems like he's able to do so much more with the swing, with the baseball, like the base hit that he had last night that essentially won the game for the Reds, driving a couple of runs in. He kept his hands inside, drove it to right center field. That was that same type of swing that he just took right here. A very short swing, got right to the ball. Where he begins to look uncomfortable is when he begins to reach for pitches away. And that may be a function of that shoulder. I don't know. It could be a function of just not having been there a lot and just not feeling all that comfortable at the plate yet.
Well, the night is over for Miley. Kirk Gibson is not going to give him a chance to lose a game. We have the right-hander Brad Ziegler ready to go down in their bullpen, and he is our Skyline Chili call to the pen. Big at bat coming up when we return. Reds Live brought to you by Kings Honda, the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com.
Now the new pitcher is a right-hander, Brad Ziegler. Ziegler, first full season with the Diamondbacks this year. He spent the previous few years with the Oakland A's, where he was very tough on right-handed hitters, and that's why Kirk Gibson has summoned him right now. Good earned run average, low. Throws a lot of strikes. Chris Heisey hoping to find something he can drive off this right-hander.
Strike 1. Inning over.
Good play by Bloomquist.
Go to the 7th. Reds still down 2. favorite moments over the weekend. Ryan Ludwig and Scott Rowland getting game-winning hits against their former team. Began Saturday on the game-ending home run is called by Chris Walsh on radio in the 10th inning on Saturday. And then last night, not in walk-off fashion, it came in the 8th to break a 2-2 tie, a 2-run single by Rowland. But tonight, a different story. Reds fell behind 4-0 in the first inning. By the end of 2, they were down just a run. But things have really quieted down ever since that home run by Miguel Montero to lead off the Arizona third. Diamondbacks only have 3 hits since then. The Reds have 2 hits since scoring in the second, and now Bill Bray tries to keep it in a 2-run game.
He came in a very tight situation in that Saturday's game. In fact, bases were loaded, 2 out. The last time he came into a situation like that, it was right fresh off the disabled list where he'd missed 2 months of the year. He walked the batter way back when. I think that was against the Minnesota Twins, but in Saturday's game, retired the batter that he faced. So not quite the same pressure here for Bray, but it will give him a chance to pitch a whole inning and maybe get himself extended a little bit. Get the feel of some of those pitches against live hitters that you don't get in the bullpen. Not even close on those. Well, nobody up in the Reds' pen, so it's up to Bill Bray to get out of whatever jam he may create for himself. All right, if you're Upton, do you let it rip on the first pitch if you see a pitch right down the middle? I'm not asking Tom, I'm really asking the people at home. I'm sure that you would probably want a guy to take the pitch. But if I just saw a batter walk on 4, I'm getting the green light on the first one if it's right down Broadway. Thing you can do in a situation like this when you're a pitcher having a hard time finding the zone is just try to throw a strike. You got a guy at the other end that can hit at 450. But he's missing not only low but high too.
First strike in the inning thrown by Bray. It's 2-1 on Upton. Three and 2.
You know, part of what makes Bill Bray difficult to hit, the deceptiveness that comes with that herky-jerky motion, that move right in the middle of his windup that kind of gets him going to the plate, is also the same thing that sets his control off a little bit. The tough thing is finding a balance between the two.
It's 2 walks, 2 batters by Bray here in the 7th inning of a 2-run game.
Ryan Price on one end, Porky Lopez on the other. They're going to get somebody else up.
Jose Arredondo now beginning to loosen up, and it's going to take him a little while. You've got a left-handed batter in Lyle Overbay, who squares around a bunt. Strike 1. Overbay does not have a sacrifice this year. No sign of a bunt this time. 1 ball and 1 strike. Overbay has only had 2 sacrifices since 2005 and has a grand total of 3 of them in his major league career. I think he was just showing bunt to see if Bray could throw a first pitch strike, which he did, and he's come back to get ahead.
You know, you might be right there, Tom. I'm not so sure, though. Lefty right here. Maybe Kirk Gibson decided to make him go up there and bunt. He looked like he was a little perturbed that first pitch was called a strike.
Ground ball down to first. Frazier for 1. Relay throw, and they got him a double play and a big one there.
Boy, oh boy. Nice turn by Frazier. Came up, got rid of it. Of course, he's a third baseman. Drafted as a shortstop, so he's got a good arm. Moved his feet nicely to get himself squared up to make the throw. And Overbay just chugging like a freight train down the first baseline. That's a big double play.
Well, now a decision. Do the Reds go ahead and walk the number 8 hitter Chris Young and pitch to the left-handed batting Gerardo Parra, or are you concerned they might bring somebody else off the bench? They're going to pitch to Young. And they caught a break. That ball missed so badly. It hit off the bricks behind the plate and came right back to Ryan Hannigan.
Boy, you're right. That was one of those pitches that hit about 3 feet in front of home plate. Overthrowing that slider just a little bit. I think they're probably going to walk him here. I mean intentionally. Oh my goodness.
Close it all the way to the screen, and now they have the runner is out at the plate. Bray didn't even know the ball was coming, and somehow, some way reacted, caught it, and tagged the runner out. I don't know if I've ever seen a play like this one. Intentionally walking the batter, an errant throw, surprise, surprise on the feed to Bray, and the call is out. Holy Moses! Chris, what in the world happened here?
I've never seen a play quite like this. Intentional walk, wild pitch. Bill Bray looking up like, oh, well, what did I do? Meanwhile, there's the ball coming to him. Miguel Montero got a slow break off of third base. Doesn't run all that great anyway, but Bray does get the tag down. Dan Bellino gets the call right, and the Reds get out of the inning. 3 walks, a ground ball double play, and a put out at the plate.
Well, let's see if they can carry a little momentum against Ziegler, the sidewinder, here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. It's still only a 2-run game. I mean, this has certainly not been one of the prettier games the Reds have had this year, but they are that proverbial bloop and a blast away from tying this thing up. 2-0. Might want to take a pitch or two from Miss Ziegler. And that's exactly what Ryan Hannigan has done to begin this inning. Miguel Cairo stands in the on-deck circle. And a strike, 2-1 on Hannigan. The Arizona bullpen was as good as it gets a season ago. There's a high bouncer over the mound. And Hannigan thrown out to start the Reds' 7th inning. Now, the bullpen had a lot of problems to begin this year, but right now it is pitching better than it has the entire year. An ERA barely over 2 going back to the 3rd week of June. And since the 22nd of June, they have the best bullpen in the National League. Now you say it's a small sample size. Well, you'd be right. But I mean, sooner or later, if you're a team that's having problems down in the bullpen, you're hoping the guys can get it together. And right now they're on a pretty good roll. Cairo batting for Bill Bray, who somehow, some way survived the 7th inning without giving up a run. Without allowing a hit.
talk about this Arizona Diamondbacks ball club, Tom, and the bullpen and how they've struggled this year, but they're better again. This is a team that won 94 games last year. I mean, the year before, Kirk Gibson, in his first full season, took them from last place to first place. They won 65 games in 2010. 65. Lost 97, and they just about reversed that record last year. Lost in the league division series 3-2.
Yeah, they got beat very late in Game 5 by Milwaukee.
But it was after the All-Star break there. They really poured it on. 20 games over 500 after the All-Star break.
Miguel Cairo arguing vehemently with the home plate umpire Dan Bellino that that ball hit foul.
Well, he said it hit foul and then came back and went fair. This is what Bellino's saying. Bellino's explaining to him, oh no, that's a quick thumb. Well, if it was in foul territory and it hit him on the foot, then if it's in contact with the plate, the white part of the plate, it's a fair ball. Miguel Cairo saying that's the black part of the plate, the little edge on the back side of it. He says, can you help me out? Jerry Lane, crew chief, first base umpire, coming in to try to maybe save some fine money for Cairo. Hits in foul territory. If it's on the plate or in contact, it's a fair ball. Remember that only part of the ball has to be in fair territory, not the entire baseball. In fact, not even where it's touching the plate. As long as part of the plane of the ball is in fair territory, it's a fair ball. But even that said, whether it was fair or foul, that's an awfully quick thumb from Miguel Cairo by Dan Bellino. Bellino's really only in his second year as a Major League umpire. He had 10 ejections last year. He once ejected a player. In fact, it was Adrian Beltre. He ejected out of a ball game when he was at the Red Sox for talking to Felix Hernandez from the batter's box. Go figure.
Go figure is right. 2 out of the inning, nobody on. Reds down 5-3, top of the order here, and Stubbs takes way inside. 2 balls and no strikes.
You think Bellino would have a little more patience? I mean, after all, he passed the bar in Illinois. He's a graduate of John Marshall Law School in Chicago, where he earned a JD, a Juris Doctor. Instead of the quick thumb, maybe a little reference to a precedent would have been more appropriate.
Well, things are always done a little bit differently in Chicago. Three and 1 the count on Stubbs with 2 down and nobody on. And there's a walk, so the tying run's coming up. Running time before he got the hook here, Chris.
It's almost like
around 13 seconds.
Almost like you drew a line in the sand and said, all right, if you point down there one more time, I'm going to thumb you out. How about a kinder and gentler approach to the second half of the 2012 season from the men in blue?
We got to pop down there in the umpire's room tomorrow before the game and run that idea by.
I am going to do that.
All right. 0-1 to Kozart. Reds a crack of the bat away, a big one from tying this game up. But can they get it? Well, they really worked over Kozart tonight. Bounce into a double play on a one-hopper right at Bloomquist in the first inning. Flied out to right, ending the second, and struck out swinging, ending the fifth. But all those at-bats were against starter, and right now in line as a winner, Wade Miley. Well, they just keep pounding and pounding and pounding away at Kozart. In.
Well, Miley was able to do that because he had that hard breaking ball that would break right at his ankles. And Ziegler's able to do that because when he drops that arm angle and comes from down around Laredo, that ball naturally is going to run right in on a righty.
Bruce Stubbs on base for the third time tonight. Couple of hits, couple of runs batted in, has drawn a walk. So a good night for Stubby. Runs, 11 hits for Arizona, 3 runs and 8 hits for the Reds. 2 outs, 1 on. Bottom of the 7th inning. Nice pickup there by Miguel Montero. And it's 2-2 on Kozart. Came out swinging, and the inning is over. Go to the 8th. Diamondbacks 5, Reds 3. Children's ranking 3rd in the nation again in the U.S. News and World Report's 2012 Best Children's Hospital. And by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your tri-state Chevy dealer. Arizona leading 5-3 in front of a crowd of nearly 28,000 on this Monday night. Follow Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of the Reds with MLB.com at Bat 12. Visit Reds.com for more details. Jose Arredondo takes over on the mound following Bill Bray, Alfredo Simon, and Bronson Arroyo.
So far so good for the Reds bullpen. Again, seems like we say that every time the Reds go to the bullpen and bring a guy out of there. They continue to drop that overall earned run average. Jose Arredondo having a good year. He'll get you to bite your knuckles a little bit, or your fingernails a little bit, when he gets some wildness going, or your knuckles, you know. But overall, he's come in here and pitched some big ball games.
Broken bat. Right at Brandon Phillips. 1 out. The Diamondbacks going to go to their bench, and they'll bring up switch hitter Jeff Blum. Blum has bounced around but hung around for a long time in his major league career. Of course, he was part of that Chicago White Sox team that won the World Series. What was that, 2005? You know, during that 05 World Series for Chicago, Blum only got 1 at bat against a team he had played with earlier in his career, the Houston Astros. And what did he do? A home run. How about that? 1 World Series at bat and you play long ball. One and 2 the count.
14 years in the major leagues.
Well, Reds fans, if you're looking for a quick and delicious meal the whole family will enjoy, Chris, you know where they ought to try. JTM's Meatball Sub Kits. You can get them in your local grocer. JTM, let's create great dishes together, and you do frequently. Two and 2 the count. 1 out, nobody on. We're the 8th inning. In the bottom of the 8th, the Reds have Frazier, Phillips, and Jay Bruce. I would imagine we would see David Hernandez come into this ball game. Arizona with a lead in the 8th inning. He's been their best reliever, and indeed he's a man getting ready down there as that one's popped up to Frazier. And there you get a look at Hernandez. He has not been scored upon in 9 of his last 10 games and has the 4th most strikeouts among all National League relievers. You know, one of the big reasons the Diamondbacks win from winning only 65 games 2 years ago to nearly 95 in a division title last year was a complete overhaul of their bullpen made by their general manager Kevin Towers. I mean, that bullpen they had in 2010 was as bad as any in recent memory. Towers started flipping players all over the place to get in guys so you get people out in the bullpen, Hernandez being one of them. And the next thing you know, they get better starting pitching than they thought they would and have one of those magical rides.
The young man we just saw in San Diego, Micah Owings, was a big part of that bullpen last year. 8-0 with a real good earned run average. Of course, Micah now on his way down to the minor leagues with the San Diego Padres to become a position player.
in their strike. 3-2 on Stephen Drew. Of course, the Diamondbacks franchise, the fastest franchise ever to reach the playoffs. They began playing in 1998. And they were division winners in their second year in 1999. In their first 14 years as a franchise, they've been to the playoffs 5 times. Swing and a miss, and the inning is over. All right, here we go. Hernandez coming on to face Frazier, Phillips, Bruce, and the Reds hoping for more than that. Made by Jay Bruce. This diving play taking away a hit and at least a run, if not a couple of runs, from Arizona in the 4th inning off the bat of Aaron Hill. All right, the Reds running out of chances. Bruce will bat 3rd here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Diamondbacks going to handle the ball to the red-hot David Hernandez from their bullpen.
You said it, Tom. He is red-hot. 9 of his last 10 outings, he's posted an earned run average of 1.8. Been unscored upon in 9 of those 10 outings. Well, J.J. Putz, who's a closer, he's awfully good, and he's on a roll himself. This might be the inning that the Reds want to try to do their business.
That's in the air to deep left field, and maybe got off the end of the bat a little bit. And had a better look to it when it initially left the bat, but Frazier knew he didn't get it. 1 out.
They got him in on the handle now that we see it again, and even Frazier, I think by his body language coming out of the batter's box, knew that he didn't get it. Got on the trademark.
Jam shot pop up, and just like that, Frazier and Phillips retired here in the 8th inning. Well, the Reds among the leaders in all the Major League Baseball first pitch swingers this year. Hernandez has thrown 3 pitches to get 2 outs.
Kind of a two-piece swing right there for Jay Bruce. He's in one of those modes right now where he's just trying to swing it with his body rather than with his hands.
That's about as quiet as it gets right there. 1, 2, 3 in the 8th inning. Miller Lite showed some Jay Bruce defense earlier on. Many will remember this play to end the game, taking away a home run for the Diamondbacks. Nicely done. That was Adam LaRoche. And the beneficiary, Francisco Cordero. That was 2 years ago. You saw Orlando Cabrera, the shortstop, back in those days when the Reds were 2010 Central Division champs. Arroyo, Simon, Bray, Arredondo, and now it's right-hander Logan Ondrusek in the 9th with the Reds down 5-3. Ondrusek pitched 1 inning, and that came in Saturday's win, the extra inning win on the home run by Ludwig. But he got a final out, stranding 2 in his 7th inning. He started the 8th inning, got an out to begin that frame. There's a swing and a miss. But he walked 3 batters to load the bases for St. Louis in the 8th inning in what was a 2-2 game at the time, and had to be rescued by Bill Bray to get the final out of the inning. And he's taking care of Willie Bloomquist to begin his 9th inning.
Has not been easy to retire Willie Bloomquist on the night. 3 hits. Chases that splitter down in the dirt, and when he gets that baby working, that's what you want. Fastball, curveball, splitter. That's really the basic way that Andrusic goes about it.
Well, he's only thrown a handful of pitches, but he's throwing harder tonight than he has in a long, long time.
You know, I'm wondering if maybe that stretch that the relievers had a break. You know, that 10-game stretch when the Reds had all their starters go deep into a ball game, and it was lonely down there in the bullpen as far as the phone ringing to get somebody up, other than Chapman, Sean Marshall, occasionally Arredondo. But the other guys, the longer reliever guys like Andrusic and Simon Bray, had no touches at all. And you have a chance to kind of recharge your body and your arm a little bit. But this outing tonight by Andrusic, he is as sharp now as he was early in the year when he just was one of the most dominant pitchers in the league. And you're looking at the middle of the Diamondbacks lineup too. This isn't a couple of guys they just pulled off the bench.
So now Montero, who has driven in 4 of 5 Arizona runs in the game. He had a 3-run double down the left field line in the 4-run first inning. He had a solo home run leading off the third. That is the last run that has been scored by either team in the game. Reds had 3 runs, 6 hits in the first 2 innings. Arizona had 5 runs and 8 hits in the first 3 innings. Simon, to a lesser extent Bray, Arredondo, and Andrusic have been lights out. 0-2 on Montero. And now ball at 2 strikes. Reds in the bottom of the 9th inning have Roland, Heisey, and Hannigan. They have Ryan Ludwig still on their bench. Pulled down the right field line, and this will be another hit for Miguel Montero. Tell you what, among all the catchers in the National League, this guy's one of the better hitting catchers there is in the game.
Oh, you're not kidding. You talk about underrated. He's hit a base hit to right field, or a base hit to left, a home run to right, and a double right down the right field line. Also walked. He was the guy that received the surprise tag from Bill Bray at the plate, wasn't he? Yeah, in the 7th inning.
Into it, an RBI single in that 4-run opening frame against Arroyo. Has since struck out, singled again, stolen a base, and drawn a walk. J.J. Putz, their closer, ready to go in the Arizona bullpen. And will try for a 9th inning rally against him. Andrusic and out a way of making sure the Reds only need 2 to tie. Pirates and Colorado scoreless in the 5th inning out in Denver. Fastball a little bit above the belt. And Milwaukee and the Cardinals scoreless in the bottom of the 5th inning. Lance Lynn, Cardinal All-Star right-hander tonight against Giovanni Gallardo, Milwaukee. Did he go around? They appeal, and no. We better be very, very careful on this pitch. Obviously up to not having the kind of year everybody wants him to have. Not the kind of year he wants to be having. You throw a fastball down the can and he'll knock it off that Budweiser can in left field. try to do it on a pitch up.
Well, he was determined that he was going to get a fastball and he was going to hack. That shows me you've got a guy up there really not seeing the ball all that well when you cheat and jump after a pitch like that on a 3-1 count. You're not shrinking your zone at all. No wonder he's having a bad year. But don't make a mistake.
Broken bat. Phillips is able to knock it down, but it rolls into shallow center. Staying put at third base is Montero. So a broken bat single by Upton keeps the inning alive. All of this noise began after Andrusik retired the first two batters on strikes.
When that ball first hit the glove of Brandon Phillips and squared it away, I thought that maybe Matt Williams might want to score Montero, but fortunately for the Reds, you've got the catcher running.
But Matt Williams looks good down there at third base. He looks like he could still be playing the game. What a player he was. Here's Lyle Overbay. Runners on the corners, 2 are out. Strike 1. Overbay has hit a couple of balls right on his screws tonight. Line to first. It turned into a double play. Hit a liner to Bruce in right. Has also struck out and bounced into that huge double play with Bill Bray on the mound in the 7th inning after Bray had walked the first 2 batters in it. Oh, and 1 on Overbay. Pointed at his eyes here, Chris. Did that mean he had a hard time seeing a sign?
It might be so. You know, sometimes a catcher will put a little piece of white tape around his fingers. Some catchers will actually paint their fingernails a bright color. So when they flash those signs down there, it's easy to see. Shadow down there.
0-2 on Overbay. And a fastball missed it, 95 miles per hour.
Nice to see that velocity back up again for Andrusik. That's a dangerous spot, though. That down and in pitch right there. Especially to a left-hander like Overbay.
Went in there again.
Yeah, maybe that's a spot that they determined that he can't cover. I haven't seen him enough recently really to know. But normally big guys who bat left-handed like to drop the head.
Two and two now on Overbay.
Want to get a decision
really
right here.
Needs it out.
Yeah, you want to get a decision here on the 2-2 count. You go 3-2. You put Upton in motion. He runs so fast.
They continue to pound away down and in on the left-handed batting Overbay. Drops it foul off to the third base side.
Oh, I definitely like the in part. Of course, if you go in there and you miss, you want to make sure where you miss is farther inside.
Andrusic fanned the first 2 batters in the inning, gave up a double to Montero, an infield hit on Upton. And now 7 pitches deep into this at bat with Overbay, a count of 2-2. So now the runner at first, as Chris pointed out a moment ago, Upton will get started. Frazier going to make sure that Andrusic knows he's playing behind him over there at first. And Andrusic was just cruising along, and now trouble a brewing. Struck him out, and he fans the side. All right. Puts has blown 3 saves this year.
Reds are trying to make it a 4th.
May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, they're hoping for a rally here in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Reds are down 5-3, and I want to tell you, coming up on Reds Live, Walt Jocketty talked to the media a little while ago. Right around the press box area, and we'll have that entire interview. Walt Jocketty talking about Joey Votto coming up in Reds Live after the game. All right, here's J.J. Putz. 16 of 19 in save chances. He's gotten better as the season has gone on.
Yeah. 35 years old now. Broke in with the Seattle Mariners. Had a year in New York, a year with the White Sox. Last couple of seasons here with the Diamondbacks. 45 saves last year, 16 this year. Not a bad idea right there by Scott Rowland. I mean, they're giving him, with the third baseman playing very deep, they're giving him a chance down there to think about it.
One and one on Rowland. Izzy, Hannigan, then a pinch hitter for Andrusic. Got to believe that'd be Ryan Ludwig, unless the situation dictates something else. High fly ball into right field, backing up Upton, but he's got room out there, one away. You hear the saying all the time, momentum begins with your starting pitcher the next day, and unfortunately for the Reds, all that momentum they had coming out of the All-Star break. Won 3 in a row in San Diego leading into the break. Sweep St. Louis. Wrapping that up here last night. But the next day's starting pitcher, unfortunately today, Bronson Arroyo, just didn't have a good outing. And gave up hits to the first 5 batters of the game and 4 runs. Foul ball by Heisey's behind 0-2.
That year J.J. Putz had last year was as good as any reliever has had in recent memory. I mean, you know, everybody's going to talk about the Brad Lidge season where he didn't blow a single save for the Phillies. But Putz went through that stretch we mentioned earlier. 28 saves in a row. He converted at 45 overall. And he allows a base hit. And a tying run will bat here in the Reds' 9th inning. Now and Ludwig next. Strike 1, and Hannigan didn't like it. It's 0-2. Reds down 2. They have 1 on with 1 out here in the last of the 9th inning. And now they're down to their final out as Hannigan is gone swinging.
It's a good splitter right there by J.J. Putz. Not an overpowering fastball, but a guy can run that little pitch down and into a right-hander. You see his finger split on the baseball right there, and it comes in there like a screwball. Perfect spot for it.
Ryan Ludwig, the hero here early Saturday evening, clubbing that home run of Victor Marte to the seats in left field in a 3-2 Reds win. And that one's in the dirt, ball 1. There was a low liner with a lot of top spin. I think everybody, including Ludwig, stunned that ball reached the seats.
How about you, Chris?
Curtis, were you surprised?
I was more than surprised. I actually lost the baseball as I saw it come off his bat. I saw Ryan Ludwig running to first base as fast as he could. He wasn't sure whether it was getting out of there. I'd like to see another one just like it right now.
Two and oh.
What he hit then was a hanging breaking ball. And there's a good chance in this at bat that he will get one of those off-speed pitches from J.J. Putz.
Two and oh on Ryan Ludwig. Fastball right down the can. Took it for a strike. Colorado's taking a 3-1 lead in the bottom of the 5th inning over the Pirates. Brewers and Cardinals still scoreless. That game in the 6th. Here it's Arizona 5 and the Reds 3. Reds down to their final out, tying one at the plate. 2-1 offering to Ludwig. Big swing and a miss on a fastball at 94 from Putz. Rung up on the final pitch of the night is Ludwig. And that's the way the old ball game comes to an end, and that's the way the Reds' 6-game winning streak comes to an end. So 5-3 Arizona, the final score. Take a look at our Nissan drive of the game. Miguel Montero made it a 2-run game in the 3rd with a home run that barely cleared the wall and right. For Montero, his 9th home run of the year. The Diamondbacks end a 3-game losing streak post All-Star break behind Wade Miley, and good work from Ziegler, Hernandez, and Putz out of their bullpen. Time now for Reds Live, presented by Kings Honda. 5-3 our final.